The second part also is a team that has really surprised me is Mexico. They've dominated all through, with 9 points. Hello, good afternoon. This is Taiwan Ojobi, your host on London Assist Maple Sports. We like to bring you unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis, and some big love for Canadian hoops and ice. Today, we're just going to be diving into the World Cup. That's what everybody is talking about. And before we go into that, I would like to say, Crespo, Emmanuel, and Josh, thank you very much. Give us some of your 2 cents before we just go right into it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go first. Thanks. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I missed, I think, the last 2 episodes. So, yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, Manuel.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's another week of World Cup games. So let's get on to it. Happy to be here to discuss our favorite sport. Let's get on with it, man.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome. Good to be back here again, and then welcome Crespo. Welcome from Vancouver. For those that don't know, Crespo also went to watch the World Cup. We're glad to have you back, and it was good that you were able to represent us there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah, so today we'll just be diving right into it. Today, I think this is the first time we'll be doing a Saturday episode, and it's exactly 12 noon Mountain Standard Time. And we're just going to be diving right into some of the defensive fortresses, struggling teams, and, try to just go back to some of those key questions that are coming up around the World Cup. But before I go, Crespo, how was the feeling, the experience of watching, Canada has probably not hosted in as much as I can remember since when I was born. How was that feeling, Canada hosting a World Cup match? And, were you watching directly from outside or you were inside? How was that feeling?
Yeah, so first off, I didn't get into the stadium. I was in one of the FIFA fan packs, and the feeling, I'm sure the feeling is different. Whatever, the FIFA World Cup fever is really buzzing, especially in Vancouver, which happens to one of the host cities. A lot of fan packs out there where we have a lot of fans from different countries all coming out, to watch the beautiful game with different fans from all over. I'll show you some pictures. I met another Crespo while I was watching the game, and it was really nice. But this Crespo actually is Asian, but she wore an Argentine jersey with Crespo behind, and when they saw me with a Canadian jersey with Crespo behind, like, hey, you know what? Let's take a picture. So we had pictures again, nice. And that's the beauty of football. You get to meet people from diverse cultures, and you just love the same kind of game. So for me, I would say good experience. First time feeling the FIFA experience. Hopefully, when next the opportunity comes, we'll be able to get into the stadium. But again, it's part of it. I enjoyed it.
It's part of it. Okay, that's a good one. But for you to attend most of those fan fests, how much does it really cost averagely within Canada to attend a fan fest?
So I'll say depending on the organizers or what is organized in that city, it's not expensive. So they have the fan packs where you can actually view the games from large screens. However, there are also screens around the park that is free. So if you want to get into the arena where you have a big screen, where you have people seated all around, then you have to pay for getting into those arenas. Places. But apart from that, it's pretty cheap, free. Get into the park, get yourself seated, meet people, mingle, watch the game, and have fun. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I think because a colleague of mine tried to fly into Toronto to watch a match, and apparently only for her to notice that the ticket only allows her to watch from a fan fest area, not really the real match itself. It still cost her almost about $120.
Yeah, so
and she still has to fly. She still has to fly to Toronto.
Of course, whichever way, if you are going to go anywhere, you have to fly. You have to get yourself there. So I will count the transport as part of the costs to watch a game. Because if you were in Toronto already, you could just take a bus.
You could just go.
For some of those fan packs, depending on the seat area. So if you are sitting close to the screen, if you are sitting at the center of the arena, the price changes, just like a stadium. Those who are closer to the ground pay
will pay more, much more.
Those who are in the box, you pay more for the luxury services in the box. Those of you sitting far away, top far, you pay cheaper or pay lesser than those who stay close to the arena. So again, just like that. But again, I think paying about $100 for the whole day to see all the games in a day is not too much, in my opinion.
Not so much.
So if there's 4 games for that day, you have access to the arena for the 4 games.
4 games.
Which is okay. So again, if you break it down, you are watching 4 different games for $100. That's about $25 for a game. Yeah, that sounds good,
Okay. Thanks so much for giving us that update. So just to go into some of the key highlights before we start to dive into some of the reason or key questions that are coming out from the World Cup. I know we've already talked about how the first round of matches went, and I think it's already clear we're beginning to see that some teams are struggling. So if you look at teams with major defensive issues, on my analysis, I have Qatar that's considered about 10 goals, 8 has been considered, Tunisia 12. Tunisia is a big disappointment because coming out of Africa, a lot of people expected more from Tunisia. Uzbekistan has considered 8 goals, Saudi Arabia on -4 on goal difference, the belief is that these sides have showed a kind of poor defensive structure, and that lack is there. There's no tactical identity, and they still go back to kind of critique the fact that if the World Cup had not expanded to this number, a lot of these teams with that disparity in when I call talent, there's no talent mobility across them. They won't be able to see, these wide margins. So imagine a team like Canada beating Qatar 6-0. You understand? And, if they had maybe 30 minutes more, they'll probably have considered maybe 3 more goals. You understand? They were just waiting for the whistle to go off. So, and if you look at the other side, the flip side as well, there are teams that are building their identity on clean sheets. And we have to give them their flowers. You look at Mexico, they've not considered any goals. Spain, as much as Spain is not even looking like the real Spain, they've still not considered any single goal. Argentina has not considered. US has only considered 2 goals, and England too has considered 2 goals. So if you look at it generally, it looks like there's a fair balance of the teams generally. But the second part also is a team that has really surprised me is Mexico. They've dominated all through, with 9 points, 6-0 on goal difference. So it means that they've not considered any goal. But this is my question to you, Josh, because you will take the first kick at the can. That's if the can still survives. So with 9 points now, do you think Mexico, they are the most complete team so far, or it's just a mirage? They've not met a good competition.
And I think it's a bit of both. Like I said, I don't think they're the most complete team, but at least they've done the job, what they need to do. And like we say in football, you can only play what's in front of you, right? So they formed themselves in a very good group, and they've been able to cover themselves in glory, right? Like I think it was after the first round of games, when we were analyzing the first round of games, I was telling Crespo of how I wasn't too familiar with their game to know that they were this good. They had a lot of quality, they pressed really high. Like I saw in their first game against South Africa, and they made South Africa make a lot of mistakes. So that's something I've really been impressed with Mexico. And even in their last game, right, they refreshed the squad. They put in the second 11 and other squad players to be able to get a game time, and they were still able to come up with a win. So that's good for them. Like we said, like we always say, it's now we are really going to see how good they are when we separate the boys from the men in terms of when we get back to knockout stages. So it's really going to be good, and we'll see how it goes from there. But again, they couldn't have asked for a better group and a better start to their World Cup. As we can see here, they have South Africa, Korea, and Czech Republic in their group, and they've been able to do well. So another thing I'm really happy for is South Africa, and that's against all odds, they were still able to come out of that group. But again, Mexico they've done their job and they've ticked up the first phase. Let's go for the second phase. That's where we really start to see what people are made of.
Exactly. Crespo, give us your 2 cents on Mexico's dominance. Do you kind of agree or you respectfully disagree?
No, I think I agree. Like Joshua said, you can only play what's in front of you. There's almost nothing they can do. And if you look at the history of Mexico, they are one of the teams that all the time they got into the World Cup, they were never eliminated at the first round.
Yeah.
They have this interesting record. I can't pinpoint exactly.
I think that's why they've won the highest number of games without winning the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a team that is hardworking. Over time, they're always hardworking. They're always hard to beat.
Yeah.
So again, this just comes to show that they're a good side. However, there are some good teams in this tournament that might put Mexico up for a run for the money. So let's see. It's as a tournament is always known. You do the best to beat it on top to meet in the next round, so that you meet someone who is not so strong in quotes by virtue of not being the top on their own group. So again, to give yourself a chance to remain in the tournament. So whoever they face in the next round would probably not be as good as they were so far in the tournament. But it's football, anything can happen. So
anything can happen.
And they also have the advantage of being at home. So a number of things working for them. Let's see how long that luck runs.
Okay.
And then they sell monitor. So yeah, I think for Mexico is in that group. They're probably the strongest team in that group. I don't expect them to not qualify from that group, right? If you look at South Africa, South Korea, Czech Republic is probably one I'll say based on their history. I'm maybe surprised about, but overall Mexico, I'm not surprised that they've qualified. Maybe the margin is probably what might be interesting. They won all their games, not conceded a lot of goals or not conceded any goals at all, right? So it's quite an impressive one, but it's what I expected to see. When I saw the group, I at least said Mexico first, South Korea second before South Africa, right? Maybe Czech Republic third before South Africa, right? But it's what it is. Mexico, congratulations to them. And again, we'll see what happens in the next round. Next round is where you now have to the lesser teams will all go off in the first round. The second round, now see the strong teams. That's when you know how strong some of these teams are, right? So by the time they play the knockout games, and because in the group stage you can lose the game in group and still qualify for the next round, right? It's the next round will then know, who are the main people that have come to come and play football. So yeah, looking forward to what happens in the next round.
Okay. And generally, thanks for sharing this table. We can also see clearly that some teams that are third have already qualified based on the ticks. Like Bosnia has already qualified in Group B, even though it's a group where the second, which is Canada, also had the same points with them, just 4 points. But looking at the fact that Argentina has not played their third game, Colombia and Portugal they'll be playing, I think, this weekend as well for their third game, and England. So we'll probably still have the remaining 2 or 3 groups come out of these third matches, because there's still a lot that they still have to prove. Even Croatia can still qualify. They're still on 3 points. So we really don't know. If Congo goes ahead and try to win their last match, they may still be able to qualify as well. And Algeria still has what it takes. And that's why they try to win their last match. And, the World Cup is filled with a lot of surprises. But this now takes me to my second question. And I'll start with Crespo's, view to it. South Africa generally on this same group. Do you think they overperformed, or you think Korea and Czech Republic, which is now Czechia, they really messed up?
So again, I have a different idea about the South African team from a lot of people that I've sampled. I think that team is a decent team. However, in the first game against Mexico, I don't know what got into the heads of the guys. Like I mentioned, they were just all over the place and could not just, because again, if you look at the qualifiers, when they played Nigeria and they played other teams, they were difficult to play against. It wasn't easy. And I like the fact that they passed the ball a lot. And the only thing you can question them for, in my opinion, is finishing. And probably not because they don't have good strikers, but probably because they don't have this kind of attacking midfielders that drop passes, killer passes, then the goals, the strikers will finish off. But I think they have a decent team. I was really impressed that they were able to get a win off South Korea. I didn't see that coming. That South Korea team is a decent team, and they got maximum points against South Korea. So again, despite the issues happening back home in Africa with South Africa and all of that, and how Africans are not supporting South Africa, I think they're a decent side and they've done very well. I think kudos to them. Almost nobody gave them a chance to get out of that group, but they're out of the group. And I would say staying an extra day in the tournament is better off than being booted out at the group stages. So kudos to South Africa. I think they've really surprised me after their first game, which was very poor. I think they had 2 red cards, if I'm not wrong, or 2 red cards. So that showed you they were not disciplined, and they have come back and they have done very well. So kudos to South Africa. For South Korea, I really don't know what happened. A lot of us expected, with the kind of quality football they played really good football. Losing to Mexico too was a shocker. They gave Mexico a run for their money, but hey, I think there was an howler from the goalkeeper. He dropped the ball, and Mexico pounced and put the ball in. So the only team that I think, in my opinion, that they got in there, but I wasn't sure they would do so much, was Czech Republic. I don't know Czech Republic to have been a very strong team, even in Europe. despite their qualifying. But I don't think I didn't give them a chance, and so rightfully so, we can see they're at bottom of the log here for Group A. So again, kudos to South Africa. Beyond everybody's thinking, they were able to claim second position.
Yeah, that's a good one. So if you Joshua, you want to go
For South Africa?
Yeah.
I think Crespo has said everything, so we can probably just touch on the other ones. But they're a decent side, and looking at this group, like Crespo said, I think the first game was probably a blessing in disguise for them. I think it just gave them the kick up the backside that they needed to know that they needed to be better to try to get something out of this World Cup. And you could see that in the next two games that they played, and they were much better, much composed, less individual errors, individual mistakes that Mexico punished them for in the first game. And they were able to get the job done, which again, as you know, in tournament football, that's all you need. You just need to get the job done, get the 3 points, get the needed points, and slowly but surely your form tends to improve in tournament football as the games go by. So I think that's what we've seen from South Africa. And South Korea, Czechia, I mean, I wasn't really expecting from Czechia. They're not really a powerhouse in football, in European football, and they are probably in this World Cup because of the expanded number of teams we have. Usually, I don't think they'll be able to qualify from Europe. But again, South Africa are doing well, and it's the first time they are qualifying for the second round of the World Cup in their history. So that's really good for them. It's something they can be proud of, and flying the African flag high. Let's see if Senegal can also join them in the second round as a second African team. I think they would. Senegal would, and Egypt. So Nigeria is not there, unfortunately, but we are also happy that South Africa and other African teams are doing really well. So
yeah, apart from Tunisia, that is disappointing us.
For the life of me, I don't know what happened to Tunisia.
Sometimes it's also the anxiety that comes with World Cup. A lot of teams maybe fumble the first two matches. By the time they get into their third match, they are now improving, but they don't have enough time. And before you know it, they're out of the World Cup. So I think it also plays a part. So there's something that just came to mind, and I wanted to see what Emmanuel thinks about it. Iran has had 3 draws in this competition, or I think 2 draws. No, yeah, they've had 3. They've had 3 draws. Yes, 3 draws already. One was 0-0, one was 2-2, and the other one was 1-1. This is a team that is having their camp in Mexico. They have to travel to the US to play, and after playing, they are heavily escorted back to go back to Mexico because their hotel is there, and they have not lost any match during this period. What does that really say to you? They still have to fly hours. Sometimes they fly 4 hours. They have maybe like 2-3 hours to prepare to get themselves together before they play a match. Whereas the team that they are playing is already in the US, and they are still able to grind out even 3 draws in this competition. What do you think about them? Is their resilience different, or do you think that this team is really good?
Well, I think it's a combination of both factors, right? It can be really good, and then if you're mentally you're not there, you probably still won't be able to do well, right? So for them to be able to defy all the challenges, I mean, I can't imagine being forced out of a country when you go for this tournament and you're forced out after 2 hours, you have to leave and fly back again.
Fly back again to play.
We hear about the other teams complain about different things in the US, harsh weather, snakes in their training camps, crocodiles and things like that. We have different complaints from different teams. But these Iranian guys, they just get about their business. And despite how good they are on the pitch, I mean, for them to be able to hold forth and still do what they do, you can only guess that if conditions were different, maybe they're not better in that group. You never
done better, exactly.
Because that's what anybody can argue. Those are the facts on ground. Even though you say fine, if they, especially the condition, they might feel entitled and not do very well. But the point is, despite all these things going on, they're still able to grind out results. It shows that mentally that they're strong, right? I give it to them. Like, it's not easy. If I was in the situation, I don't know if I would be able to perform very well optimally, given all the challenges around me. And they're being affected by the politics of the war and everything, right? So
of the war, exactly.
Which ideally shouldn't affect football, but we're in a world where these things now matter to everybody, right? So I feel for them, but I'm happy that that they've done this well. I just hope that they're able to make it to the next round, even though it seems very unlikely, given what other teams are doing in other groups, right? If they're able to make it to the next round, it should be very, very good for them. So I think for me, it's a combination of being strong on the pitch and also mentally strong as well for the Iranian guys. I just hope that they're able to, you know, it's they should be proud of themselves, to be honest, for what they've achieved so far, despite all these challenges, right? I was saying the other day that if tables were turned, this World Cup was being hosted by Iran. Yes, would the American team go there to go and play? Highly unlikely, right? Given what I know Trump can do, right? But it's what it is. We're in a world where these things now matter to everybody. It affects us in different ways. This is supposed to be a World Cup where we enjoy ourselves and watch our games. Football reaching the whole world, right? No point that these guys are having to go through this, right? But it's what it is, the world that we're in today.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that they're able to, despite everything, still achieve this kind of result that they're achieving.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks so much for that. I really feel for their resilience because the coach came out and he said it publicly that it looks like every other person is planning for them. They don't even have control over how much time they have to be able to rest and do a lot of things. But despite that, I'm still really surprised they're able to come up with as much draws as possible in a competition of this magnitude, where African countries that even have access to better facilities and they're close to where they are playing are still even dropping points that are still keeping it going. I really just hope they go to the next stage. So Crespo, I'll just jump on it for Canada as a team. Everybody knows that we're able to qualify with 4 points, and we've scored 8 goals so far, especially with the match against Qatar. Do you think Canada is really becoming a good football nation, or this is just a fluke in your own point of view?
No. You can't say it's fluke. You can see the improvements in the teams, in the way they play. I think this is kudos to Canada. Canada is not known originally for playing football, but they are beginning to lay claims, just like their big brother, North America, that's the US.
US, yeah.
You can see that a lot of investment is going into football now. We're seeing quality players come up, and it can only get better in my opinion. So kudos to the Canadian team. I'm sure a lot of Canadians didn't even give Canada a chance. I know somebody that didn't even give Canada a chance to get out of this group.
But this group, yeah.
Yeah, they're out of the group now, and they meet South Africa in the next round. From the next round matches. So yeah, they've got a chance, and they can only get better from this. And we're looking forward to a great game against South Africa. May the best man win.
Yeah. Emmanuel, what do you think about this Canada team? Do you think it's a major breakthrough, or probably it's just some investment that are beginning to yield some fruits?
I think I'll say we're beginning to get some good footballers. We're beginning to get a bit more popular with our soccer, what it's called here in America, right? So
yeah,
right. So I don't want to get in there. We have some big names, Jonathan David. We have Alfonso. The other guy, I can't remember the names again.
There's Promise David. There's a Promise guy.
Yeah.
He plays in. I think he plays in. He has played in Croatia before. And now he plays in. I think Sweden. That's Sweden. Yeah, he's also a solid guy.
Larry or
Larin.
Yeah.
Larin, yeah. That one plays with, is it Juventus? Okay, no, not Juventus, but he has played also with...
This guy is with Juventus. The David's guy. Jonathan
David guy is in Juventus.
And then the Bayern Munich guy, the one that's been on the bench for some time.
Alfonso Davies.
Alfonso Davies, exactly.
Alfonso Davies plays for Bayern Munich, yeah. And Alfonso Davies has been injured all throughout this competition. He has not even played.
Losing Kone too was huge too.
Yeah, losing Kone was.
Yeah, okay.
So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Right? At the end of the day, a country like Canada can be, when it comes to football, they just have to be improving, and that's what we're seeing, right? We're not there yet. If I watch the football, it doesn't look compared to the other countries, right? We're not there yet, but it's a building process. We have a coach right now who is coaching the Premier League right now, so it's something that as time goes on, you're going to get more players coming in, more players wanting to play for their country, and by the time you do more scouting, more players get popular, and then you get to a point when you're competing with the big boys. Look at the US right now; Pochettino is coaching them. They have people like Florian Balogun, they have Pulisic and all these other guys, who are Americans playing their football in different countries in Europe. It's just a matter of time, right? And with younger kids growing up, you see that more will get more good footballers playing for Canada, and it's just and we'll get to a point where we're a big powerhouse when it comes to football in America. It starts from America, and then we can start coming to other countries. Just like look at the US, look at the results they've gotten so far. I know they lost their last game, but at least the first 2 games they played very well. 4-1, 2-0, so it's just the natural progression, right, of a team in a country like Canada with all the resources that we have. If a country like Cape Verde with 150,000 people are doing what they're doing, right, you expect a bit more from Canada, but it's a matter of time, and we'll get there.
Yeah. I think what you just said also brings me back to the USA performance against Turkey. And I looked at Turkey and they played with a lot of desperation, because if they had lost that game, they would have come to the World Cup and would have lost all 3 games. You understand? And, they needed a win desperately and they went ahead. And I was like, why didn't they play like this from the beginning of the tournament?
You never know, right? You never know how this is to turn out, right? You think that I play a brand of football, you will do well. But by the time you play the first game, you lose it, and that starts changing. Just what it is.
Unfortunately for them, they had to lose the first 2 before they were able to wake up that, man, this competition is going, we have to do something different.
Yeah.
And the thing surprised me because I checked it was 2-2 before I went to sleep. By the time I woke up, I saw that, man, they scored the last goal, I think 97th minute or thereabouts. They scored that last goal and it became 3-2. So I'm just happy for them. At least they get a breather. If you are going to be talking about the World Cup, you won't say they came for 0 points. So it's more like they traveled for vacation and they are going back, so at least they got their 3 points. Joshua, I wanted you to just give me your 2 cents. Brazil and Morocco are both on the same points, 7-7.
Yeah.
This group for me is one of the most dangerous groups because of the way Morocco is playing. Who do you think looks more dangerous in Brazil and Morocco? They both have 7 points, topping them.
I think they are both dangerous, but I think I'll just tip Brazil a bit just because of the quality and the attacking quality and individual quality that they have in that side, and the fact that any one of them can turn up on a given day. But I think that group is really interesting, and I think the first game, Brazil Morocco, laid the foundation of what this group eventually became. Because if you look at that game, Morocco should probably have won that game. They dominated Brazil for a large part of the game, and I think that in a way helped Brazil because with what I've seen in this tournament is a lot of the teams learned from the first game, and you will never know like you will never know, like hindsight is a beautiful thing. You will not know like what has helped or what has changed, and we'll see that also when we talk about Portugal. But I think because if you look at the first match, Brazil really messed up. Ancelotti got his tactics wrong, his starting 11 wrong, and you will see that from that first game, the next two games he's gone with the same starting 11. He's reverted back to what we would expect 4-3-3 and what you expect with the Brazil, and you can see how the balance of the team is there now. Vinicius is doing well, he scored goals, and they are playing a bit better. Unlike the first game against Morocco, where he went to the 4-4-2, tried to use Vinicius and Thiago, and no disrespect to Thiago, Thiago, as we've talked about him a lot during the season, but and this is not a derogatory way, or I don't mean to say, but he's not he's not the striker that can play for Brazil, and that's not. It has nothing to do with him, or it's not the way Brazil plays and the way the players that he has in that Brazil squad cannot fit Igor Thiago. He cannot get the best out of him, and both Igor Thiago will suffer and Brazil will suffer, like we saw in the first game, which is hard. And you can see he's not started any game since then. I think he came on in the third game also with Neymar, just because for them to be able to get the best out of him, they will have to play the way Brentford plays. And Brazil will not play that way. They don't even have the players to play that way, and it's very difficult to get the best out of him. That's why, unfortunately, you would have to be content with coming on from the bench to be able to affect the games. But again, it's like, how can you score almost like 26 goals in the Premier League for Brentford and not come to the World Cup? So it just had to be there in the World Cup. This is where you feel like players like João Pedro suits the Brazilian play and style more than Miguel Tego. But again, kudos to him for what he's done this season. But he just doesn't fit the way Brazil would play, and the players they have to get the best out of their tournaments very well. But again, there might be games where he's needed, his style of play is needed. But also Morocco, very good. They've been very dominant. They've been good. Their first game against Brazil was beautiful. Against Scotland, they got the early goal. And they just was able to manage the game to the end of the game. This their striker, I've forgotten his name now. I think he's gotten 3 or 4 goals now in tournaments. I think he's going to Bayern Munich. He's been a revelation this tournament for Morocco. And I think he's going to be playing at Bayern Munich next summer. Next season. So he's also been good. Hakimi has been good also, helping them. You just know that Morocco will be there or thereabouts, right? They're a very strong team. They're a good team. And I don't think anyone would want to face Morocco, right? If you had a choice, you'd want to avoid them. So Brazil and Morocco, they're just Brazil. I mean, let's see the second round, because in tournament football, you can start poorly, but just
poorly and now finish better,
and gradually improve as the tournament goes. But so far so good. I think they've done their job, like we've been saying. They've topped the group. They're through to the second round. and we'll see how they fare when they meet against the the big boys. But so far so good. They've done their job. We'll see how they perform. But again, I don't tip them to win or get very far. But again, we never know. We'll see.
Yeah. Thank God you said the word. We never know. A lot of things,
You
and
never know, because I mean they could just improve, they could turn up, But based
yes,
on their so far, I mean they've not really faced any really strong competition that would test them really. Morocco did, and we saw how they fumbled. So once they are tested really well, I think they will falter, but we'll see.
definitely. And this also brings me back to the last World Cup that was hosted by South Africa, where even Spain did not start so well.
Yeah. In
They
fact, they
just
won their
improved
first three games in
their first
2010.
three games.
They finished.
Exactly.
They were second with 3 points. No, I think they
Exactly.
were third with 3 points. They were best losers.
Best loser,
They drew their
exactly.
first three games and then they went on to win.
We're beginning to see those kind of patterns. It's just that you can't really tell which team is going in that direction, but we can definitely see that some teams are getting better as they progress or as they get the opportunity to play more matches. And
You see, Argentina last time they lost to Saudi Arabia in the first game, and it was a
first game, yeah,
disaster.
it's true. That's true.
You
That's
never
true.
know.
You never know, yeah. You just keep everything open. Just watch and see how they perform. So on the flip side, because Crespo got the opportunity to actually watch in one of the centers and looking at the popularity of the World Cup, and we got some analysis on record-breaking viewership trends that are happening. And the USA has recorded over 18 million people that are watching the World Cup or that have watched so far, as at the time that we're able to pull out this analysis. But this is a country that has over 400 million people. 18 million is still a huge number. So imagine 18 million people in a Canada that has like 40 million. As you are looking at almost 50% of the entire country watching. So that's a huge number compared to the country of over 400 million. It's still a very small number of people that are watching the World Cup. Mexico has about 23.4 million. And they are still not anywhere close to the population of the US. Brazil doing about 30.7 million, Japan 22.4. China is the one that surprised me the most. China has 192 million unique viewers so far that are watching the World Cup from China. 92 million, that's alarming. And that's still the highest number. So this is kind of shaping up to be one of the most watched World Cups ever. But what do you think, Crespo, generally? Do you think the World Cup is now becoming even far more than just playing football? Is it now becoming more like an iconic competition that brings the entire world together? Because these numbers are really alarming. You don't even have them in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, it's the most popular sport. But again, we all know the business part of football now. It's driving a lot of things. So yes, when you see these numbers, it simply tells you there's a lot of money now in football. And there's a lot of money to go around. So whoever is in charge of football, which is FIFA, would want to cash in on this kind of trends. And I know one of the games, I'm not sure exactly now, the highest number of viewership of a match in FIFA. They've recorded that in this tournament so far, where one of the games had the highest number of viewers watch the game so far.
Viewers watch, yeah.
So come to look at it, it's the most popular sport. However, like you mentioned, in a country where 400 million, we are having barely 18 million people watch. That means there's room for improvement.
Because 18 million is still a small number.
Yeah. So,
if you in percentage, I don't even think it's up to 30%.
Yeah, so
we are still far.
That means
it's still single digit in percentage.
That means there's still a lot of money to make. So that's the beauty. So it can only get better. However, there's been a lot of complaints about the price tickets and all of those things. So hopefully, FIFA makes a lot of money this time around. For the upcoming tournaments, they can have a reduction in some of these fees.
Exactly. So it's still less than 1%.
Yeah.
I mean less than 5% of the entire population watching. It means that there's still a lot of people that can still come on. USA has what it takes to help FIFA make so much more money.
Yeah.
It looks like a smaller population are still watching, but it is what it is. We have more people doing that in Canada and Mexico as well. So it means that Mexico is more of a firehouse when it comes to football compared to the US.
You have to remember that America or the United States, Canada are not popularly known for football.
Football, yeah, that's true.
The leagues in these countries are not like the most watched leagues.
Exactly.
So with whatever it is that we're seeing now, it's still a good
number.
It's good that can improve. Just imagine that the MLS improves. We have more viewership of the MLS. I'm sure by the time the next World Cup comes, you might have even without US hosting, you can have a lot of viewers watching all the way from the United States. Yeah. Again, what I just see from any sign of the marketing is there's a lot of room to make money here. So
exactly. But when you were in Vancouver and you got the opportunity to attend a fan fest, did you see a lot of loyalty? Because what I've seen here is Canadians wearing their own country's jersey, because Canada is a country that has a lot of immigrants. So you go out to watch matches, you are seeing people wearing Brazilian jerseys. You see people wearing Venezuelan jerseys. I saw people wearing Colombia. You know, they are representing their country. They live in Canada, quite alright. They're also Canadian citizens, but they are repping their countries.
absolutely.
Did you see a lot of that?
A lot of that, like I watched the Germany Ivory Coast game. I watched about 3 or 4 games. So I watched Germany Ivory Coast. I watched Uruguay Cape Verde. I watched 4 games over the weekend. So I watched the games over the weekend. Again, you will see a lot of Germans. The Germany Ivory Coast game, there were 2 people. In fact, there were a lot of Germans in the stands. You'll be surprised.
Wow.
You got a lot of Germans wearing the German jerseys in full regalia, supporting Germany with the German flags and all of that. You know, so again, it's football, and Canada is quite diverse. We have a lot of nationalities here in Canada, so it was easy to find a lot of representations. Like I said, I took a picture with somebody from Argentina.
Argentina.
Supposedly from Asia, but was done in an Argentine jersey. So those are the beautiful things that you can expect to see at this level of football. So again, there's room to improve. Even in Africa, there's room to improve. There's room to make more money from Asia. So again, FIFA, they've got a lot of work on their hands, and I'm sure they are doing all they can to pull in more people so they can make more money.
Yeah, that's good. So Emmanuel, looking at Group G, I like your analysis we have on the board. I consider this Group G a chaos group. We have Belgium with 5 points. We have Egypt with 5 points. The same Iran, 3 points. Do you think this group is the most unpredictable group?
Unpredictable. Well, it depends on what you mean to you. I don't.
It's very, very unpredictable.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so,
Because
right?
even as it is now, if Egypt should lose their last match, they may not finish second. Iran can still finish second in this group. Now, if Iran should win their last match, Belgium itself may not finish first on this group.
They played all 3 games.
No, they've not. I think they are playing today.
No, they played yesterday.
Have they played all 3 games?
Egypt Iran 1-1.
Yeah, Egypt Iran. They played last night. Yeah.
Okay, it was 1-1. Oh, okay. But looking at it generally, I think Iran is the only one that still has the chance of joining them, but they've not qualified yet.
So South Korea has a chance. Scotland has a chance.
Yeah, depending on what happens
Algeria,
with every other
Okay.
person.
I think Belgium has gone. Belgium has gone.
Belgium actually already qualified.
Okay.
So they're the first team.
Join them.
They already qualified, right?
Okay. I think it's even clearer for Group G.
South Korea,
already.
Scotland, Iran, Algeria, Congo, Croatia. Those are 3 that might these 6.
So this deal, you are looking for 8 teams to qualify as best results. Already,
Yeah,
5 teams who have qualified.
They already have 5, so I think they need 3 more.
Of those, we have of these 6 I mentioned right now, 3 will still go, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on who they're going to play in the who it to be, right? But unpredictable. Yeah, I think
Iran will probably just be waiting for the other groups to play.
Exactly.
Because they now have to fall within the best loser category.
Yeah.
So that they will know if they are going to get out of this stage.
So it's after the game today.
It's a very interesting tournament because.
So I think today we still have what are we seeing today? So we have Croatia, Ghana,
Jordan,
Panama, England,
Algeria,
Australia, Jordan, Argentina beat Jordan. You shoved that one. So Congo, Uzbekistan, Colombia, Portugal, Panama, England. So you just can't say, right, until those games today happen. They will know the 3 that are going. Clearly, these 5 here have already gone. So Bosnia already gone. Paraguay, Ecuador, Sweden, Senegal too. Have they really gone? They're just on 3 points, right?
So Senegal has been
qualified because they had +5 goals difference.
Oh, yeah, +5. I think that their last match helped them.
Yeah.
That match against Iraq, they scored a lot of goals. Yeah. So I think I'm really impressed with Senegal's performance because that match against Norway, you will see them fighting. If they had maybe extra 5 minutes in that match, maybe they would have scored one more because you could see everybody fighting to come back. If not because of that second goal from Elinala, that mistake that they made. And if not, they would have drawn that match, and they sat down on the field. It was looking like, man, they thought they were going until against Iraq, they took advantage of it. And Iraq is still the worst It's they still have the worst with Jordan, 0 points, and Tunisia. Okay, Panama also has 0 points.
Even Uzbekistan
Hopefully, they're able to maybe just get a draw.
also
But those are the worst performing teams.
Uzbekistan also has 0 as well.
You said what?
Uzbekistan also has 0 points as well. Uzbekistan.
Okay, yeah, Uzbekistan as well.
Panama,
That's true.
Tunisia is shocking, man. Tunisia has been so poor in this World Cup. 0 points.
Yeah, that's why they just have to go back home because they've been heavily criticized within Africa. Looking at the fact that they now, happen to be in the same group where three teams still qualified and they could not even draw one single match. It's quite unfortunate. But this now takes me to France. France has a perfect performance in this World Cup with 9 points. Norway on 4. Who looks more complete? If you are talking about perfect teams, and if you try to compare it with Argentina that had a clean sweep of 9 points, okay, Argentina is still playing today,
Yeah,
but they already have 6 points already. But let's just assume they are already qualified now, and they will definitely get the 9 points. But would you think is a more firepower team between France and Argentina?
I mean, Argentina is a good team to watch, especially when Messi is there. I don't know what they will look like when Messi is not playing. That's what I like to see today because it's likely he's not going to play full 90 minutes today.
No, they have already qualified, so they will most likely use their second team.
What they're like because I mean, it seems to. Messi. You know what Messi does when he's playing. Everybody's at their best when Messi is playing, right? So, but when he's not
gets
there,
better.
it's good to see. To be interested to see what can happen when Messi is not playing. For France, I'll say in terms of more complete, I'll say France is the more complete team than Argentina right now on current standing. Given the players that they have, Argentina has some good players. They have some good players. Don't get me wrong, but with someone like Messi in there, if you take out Mbappe from that French team, they can still score a lot of goals. Right, if you take out Mbappe, you can still score a lot of goals. You have likes of Dembele, Olise there, who can still make things happen. You have Bacola, who can still score a lot of goals. But for Argentina right now, from what we've seen so far, all their goals have been from Messi. All the goals have been from Messi. That they will score goals without him, but I'd like to see what they'll be like without him. So based on that, what I've seen so far in this World Cup, I would say France is a more complete team. Even what they did against Norway. Norway is a good team to watch in this World Cup so far, but although you say it's their second team that played that game, but despite that, scoring 4 goals against Norway in the World Cup is not an easy thing to do. If I'm to compare both teams together, I would say from what I've seen so far, France seems like the better, well all-rounded team compared to Argentina. That's my view. I mean, we get to see what Argentina can do without Messi on the pitch. Because face it, if Messi was if it was just any other player, he shouldn't have been in this World Cup because he said the last one was going to be his last one. Right. And now he's here, he's performing this well. 5 goals, all the goals they've scored has been from him. So it's good to see what they will be like without Messi. Based on that, I think France is the better team for me.
Okay, that's a good one. So generally, I just want to get your feedback, general highlights with how the British market is going. You will notice that as players are playing football, their agents are closing deals on their next teams in England and other countries in Europe. Joshua, generally to you, what has been the major highlight on transfer markets, especially going away from the World Cup? In Europe, what do you think is happening that may shape the next narratives when the World Cup is over?
I would say it's really the rebuilding of Real Madrid, as we are seeing.
Exactly.
They've gotten Konate, they've gotten Cucurella,
Bernardo.
They've also gotten Bernardo Silva, and there are talks that they still want to get Enzo Fernandez from Chelsea. So that
Enzo Fernandez wants to leave Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean,
He's not
it's always been linked today. I mean, even when he was leaving Benfica, he was meant to go to Real Madrid, but Real Madrid didn't want to pay the 100 million release clause at the time, which is why Chelsea then came in. It's again, as you know, he's Argentine, he speaks Spanish, so by default, they just really love Real Madrid. So it's interesting to see what Mourinho is building there. Of course, we know his first main task will be to get Real Madrid back, challenging, winning titles. So we'll see what happens with that. But aside from that, in the Premier League, also Enzo Maresca will be confirmed by Manchester City if he's not been confirmed already. Man City would, of course, have paid the compensation to Chelsea, I think about £3 million, which is what, again, was delaying the move because there's the clause of if you resign, you can't just go pick up another job until a certain time frame. So either he or the club is going to pay the Chelsea the compensation, which Manchester City will. So maybe the Chelsea owners are right in their assumption earlier that Man City tapped on him, which is why all of the hula baloo and all of the throwing tantrums that he did at the time. And maybe that's the reason why he did all of those, so he could get out, either being sacked or resigned, so he can be available for the City job. So in due time, maybe, I mean, that's probably the case as we've seen that he's ended up in Man City. So maybe he was tapped up which caused the whole issue at the time. What other things? I know Man City, they're trying to get a midfielder. I think Man U will go for Edison. Man City are trying to get Anderson, and then I think they've slapped like £100 million on price tag on his head. So we'll see how that develops. I mean, I don't think he's worth that. I don't think he should buy it. I mean, I've seen him in Nottingham Forest. I've seen him with England. I really don't see what. I mean, if you take that money and go to France, go to the second division, League One, League Two, you'll see a lot more players that can do that job for you with less money. So I mean, but there's nothing I've seen or Anna's seen that shows that he was worth that, or that he should even be in the conversation. Like he's not pulling up trees from it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So Crespo, for you, what really stands out, especially because the World Cup will definitely end in July. We have probably 19 days in July or thereabout, for us to wrap up the World Cup. What do you think is happening in Europe that will be a major highlight for next season?
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be the Real Madrid overhaul. Let's see what
Okay.
Mourinho can do there. There are a lot of skepticisms about Mourinho and if he still got the magic, but I think if you give him the chance, he can still do magic. He went unbeaten in Benfica, even though he didn't win the league. And somebody asked him, how does he feel? He said, actually, he feels two ways, that in all the leagues he has been to, he never did an unbeaten, but he won the championships. But in this place, he didn't win the championship, but he went unbeaten. So Mourinho, he has a way of winning in whichever way you point the question. So again, I think he still got something in him, and hopefully he can get the best of this partnership or this pairing that we all feel is catastrophic. The Vinicius Mbappe debacle. Let's see if he can solve it. Yeah. So for Real Madrid, yes. The other part is what Josh alluded to, the Elliot Henderson signing, and I'm like, what's going on? Is this because this guy is an English player? I don't know. I don't know the valuation that has put him up to £130 million. But hey, that's football, and Man City's got the cash. They seem not to be having issues with PSR, so yes, they can go for it. But for me, the interesting one would be the signing at Barcelona for Gordon and not wanting to keep Rashford again. Probably they are seeing something we're not seeing in training, and for that reason, they rather have Jordan. But again, it doesn't. For me, it's a no-brainer.
I can't believe it.
You go for 50 million for Gordon, and you don't want to pay 25 million for Rashford for 2 years. Again, I'm not an agent. I don't know how the books or what's going on with the books. So probably that might be a reason why they're not going for Rashford anymore. So again, for Man U, I hope to see what they can pull out with all of this. Man U coming back, is he going on loan? I know for right now, Onana has been settled. He's going back on loan to Trabzonspor.
Okay.
Let's see what happens to Man U with their signing. Yes, Ederson is being confirmed in code, but I think July 1st of July, we'll know. We'll get the details, but Ederson seems to be a Man U player right now. Let's see how Man U can rejig that midfield, and hopefully they take a step higher than they did last season.
Awesome. So, Emmanuel, what are your major highlights within Europe? I don't even see us now doing anything much in the market. I know there were some conversations around maybe adding one more midfielder, but we're not really seeing anything going on. But what are the major highlights for you within Europe?
I think major highlights is I mean, that's what's going on, players and player movement, right? Just like what Joshua and Crespo has said already. I think for me, shocking on Real Madrid by and getting Mourinho and then trying to build up their team again that's one thing, because I expected that to happen given that Mourinho is going in there, and the kind of players he's trying to get, strong guys who can actually hold the team together. That's what he's trying to get, and that's the type of Mourinho players, right? Defensive players, defensive-minded players, right? He already has the attack. I think the attack is pretty much sorted with Mbappe and Vinicius Junior, Bellingham, and all those other guys there, right? So that's pretty much what I expected from Mourinho, getting those defenders in, and he's already made big steps. And they're the club that's bought the most players so far, even despite the World Cup going on. They're still doing things. They brought Konate, they brought Silva, they brought who else have they brought in again? A couple other players. They're eyeing at the point they were trying to get Calafiori, but it looks like Calafiori said he's not going anywhere. So he wants to remain at Arsenal. That was one thing. And if I look at the on the English side as well, and that's not like going for £130 million. That's a lot of money, man. I mean, I did notice him all through the season. I didn't watch a lot of Forest games, right? So probably the Forest guys are the ones that can tell us better how good he really is. But I don't see anybody in that team going for that amount. Maybe I'm wrong, but it will be interesting to see what he will do in the next season. Now that deal is almost done, if not done already. Right, that's one that was shocking. And then Arsenal going for Bruno Guimaraes was a shocker for me. I didn't expect that. Like, I wasn't expecting that. We just saw that they made a bid yesterday and it was rejected. I'm like, boom, where did this come from? So I knew Arsenal was going to sign a midfielder this season. I know they want to sign a midfielder, a left winger, and maybe one other creative player or something in the middle of the park to help Odegaard and Eze or something. That's what I knew we were going to sign. But Guimaraes was the one that was surprised me. I know at the point we were talking about Tonali.
Tonali, yeah.
See that right? I'm trying to get that Tonali or Guimaraes. I don't know which one, but any one of them will be very good. At the point you were talking of getting that Moroccan guy, Boyadi, right? So right now it's looking like it's going to be Guimaraes. They made the first bid and they're going to go in for the second one. If not, if they haven't done that already today, maybe on Monday they probably go the second bid for Bruno Guimaraes. So those are some things that I've seen that have been surprising. But then other teams too that have not been anything, like Manchester United as well. I don't know if they bought in. I think they bought one player already.
Ederson.
They bought Ederson, yeah. So that's a good one because they really need to strengthen, right? And then the other thing that went under the radar again was because Arsenal buying paying fully or completing the deal for Hincapié for £34 million. That's a steal. Like, I don't know how better I guess this deal is done. The guy is just if you look at what this guy did last season, Hincapié did last season, I'm thinking that Man United is buying a defender for about 40-50 million pounds, the one that Man United has bought. And I see Arsenal buying Hincapié for £34 million. It looks like it's a steal because we all saw what he did last season, how good Hincapié is, how good he has been over the years with Bayern Leverkusen and then with Arsenal. So that's a good one, and for me that's a big step. I just hope Arsenal can get some of these deals done before the season starts, right? Because clearly to contest again next season, you need to strengthen in some areas, right? There's talk about a swap deal for Gyökeres and Alvarez. I don't see that happening. I don't see Gyökeres leaving Arsenal this season, right? Not after just one season. I mean, they want to prove himself better after the second season, right? So let's see how that goes. But I don't see that deal going through. Alvarez doesn't want to go to Arsenal, and that's a clear thing. So I don't see Arteta going to a player that doesn't want to come to Arsenal. All the players that Arteta have gotten in Arsenal are players that want to stay there. That's why right now nobody wants to leave. What's his name? Calafiori doesn't want to leave Arsenal, despite the interest from Real Madrid. They don't want to leave. They want to stay. They like what they're doing in Arsenal. They like the team structure. They like the spirit of the team and everything. So they're happy to stay there. So it's been great to see what else happens. Chelsea is still there. I'm sure they will be buying a lot of players, given that we have a new coach right now, and I'm hoping to see what they do next season. I saw Man United fans getting angry with Garnacho. The guy is looking different right now. His dreadlocks and everything, like Chelsea sold us what Travis Scott wanna be, and then
it's coming back. Yeah, that's a good one, and it also looks like I was expecting to see a lot more movement for Liverpool, but Liverpool is still a bit quiet. I'm sure they are probably just waiting till after the World Cup, especially with this their new coach. And Real Madrid has also told this guy to come back, Nico Paz, that went to play for Como, and it was also a major part of.
Yeah, but Como has bought him now for 60 million.
Yeah.
Okay, I think because they activated the 9 million buyback clause at first. Because Como too, they are looking like they want to really go for it.
Should have tried to keep the guy.
Exactly. Real Madrid should have tried to keep it.
So the news coming out is Nico Paz wants to stay in Madrid, but is looking for game time. And with what Madrid is doing right now, he's not going to have that game time he wants. So he's open to coming back to. Even in the new deal, there's a buyback clause also in the new deal.
Buyback, yeah.
Even though they are getting him for 60 million to Como just qualified for the Champions League in through Serie A. Fair enough that they allow him enjoy his time at Como and still holding on to the deal. So I think it's looking like a win-win for Madrid right now. We let him go for 60 million. If we don't need him, fine. If we need him, we can always buy him back. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thanks so much, guys. I think before we end, generally, I don't know whether this is a buzz. And Josh, I just wanted you to give me your 2 cents on it. Layoffs that are happening to coaches or conversations around teams that have not performed well. What is the fate of their coaches, especially in the World Cup? Look at Tunisia. Some of these layoffs that are happening. What do you think? Do you think it's a buzz, or you think it's just something that happened to 1 or 2 teams? And
no, I think it's something that happens with international football and international managers. Tunisia, this is the second coach. They sacked the coach after the first game. The coach
exactly
woke up and they got another one. I'm guessing that one too would also go after, since he couldn't make any difference. But again, it's an international manager type of method process. They are usually giving contracts based on tournament
performance. Yeah.
A lot of them, their contracts will be ending after the World Cup, so maybe after the Euros. So they then assess their performance after that tournament to see if they deserve another one. So I'm sure after the tournament, we're going to see a lot of managers who would be let go just because the contract ended after this tournament and they didn't do well enough to earn a renewal. As we see, even for Portugal, Roberto Martinez's contract ends after the World Cup.
Yeah.
and I don't think he wants to renew. So we'll see how that goes. But again, it's a normal thing with international management.
Okay. That's a good one. Thanks so much for that update. At least we've been able to see so much happening within in England and other countries within the European space. And a lot of people are looking forward to going back to support their clubs. But for now, let's just enjoy the World Cup in North America. And, hopefully we're able to, to come back next week, looking at a different table by then. And, we have a better view of what the second round looks like. It's so funny that this second round still has 32 teams, not 16 this time around.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
It's a
round of
different
32.
outlook. I think it's almost like the World Cup is starting again
It's
because
just
you still have
it's not
32
out here,
teams.
round of 32.
So what
You
happens? So
understand?
this knockout right now, we're gonna have 16 teams going through, right?
Yeah, it's gonna
After
be round of
32, it will go
16.
down to 16.
This is round of 32, usually from group stage they'll go to round of 16.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
now there's now from group stage round of 32. And this will
32.
still increase. I'm sure the World Cup in another 10 years will be to 64 teams. I
64.
think that's where they want to
Man,
get
you
to.
see what I know about these players. I thought this player they're playing too many games, man. Too many
So
games.
it will still
They,
go
they
to
have
Too
to
many
start
games.
reducing games that these guys play because they're
at least
human.
maybe Nigeria will be able to qualify.
But the advantage is it gives players a lot of time to recover and rest. So imagine the last time I saw Argentina play is close to almost a week now.
Is it almost a
So
week?
if
Yeah.
the players are banged up, they have like another 5 days to rest and recover, and they come back a bit more refreshed because there are other matches going on.
But really, they are training. We don't really have time to rest. They are training. World Cup
No,
last
no, but it's not.
week.
It's not competitive anymore.
Yeah, I understand, right? But anyways, just
Probably
Some
what
people want to just get it done quickly. I understand the anxiety. You want to get your match done quickly and know where you are going. But it's just that there are so many matches that are stacked up being played across 3 countries that before, because when last did Portugal play? It's like Portugal has played like a long time ago, almost like close to a week.
played on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I think
That is almost like a week. You still have like a 5 day stretch. Because I still remember Canada played. When did Canada play? Last week, Thursday or thereabout. Was it Thursday? It's not Thursday
no,
this
no, no.
week.
They played on Wednesday. Canada played on Wednesday against Switzerland. They played on Wednesday with Switzerland. Yeah.
Okay. Let's close it. At least we've been able to do more than an hour. Thank you very much for joining, guys. We'll be able to see you
thanks
next
guys.
week. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Cheers. Yeah.